Hello, sir.
Yeah, good evening,
Good
brother.
afternoon, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening.
So, how are you?
Fine, sir. Fine, sir.
Right, we're gonna start today the new lesson, which is actually motion in a plane. Right. Yeah. What actually we have discussed, various. We have discussed the motion and its characteristics. What is actually, motion? Why we need to study motion? All those are important things that you have to understand. So why we need to study actually, right? We need to study motion in a straight line, motion in a plane. Those are very important to understand the concepts. So when I want to go one direction, I just need motion in a one direction, motion in a straight line. If I want to go any, if I have the x, y, z, if I would like to study only in the x direction or y direction or z direction, I just need only one coordinate to describe its motion. We have discussed this unit vectors I, j, k. If I want to say the object is moving in one direction, which is along x direction, or if you say even north direction, I am considering north as x direction, unit vector I. So I don't need any more coordinates. I just need one x coordinate enough, right?
Right.
So,
So,
but
but
if
if
I
I
want
want
to describe the object in 2D, so if I want to describe object only one direction, like east, west, north, south, or x, y, z, I don't need, I just need one coordinate to describe its motion. But if I want to, let us say, here I can see that xy coordinate, but if my object is moving in this direction, so if I would like to describe the motion of this object, how many coordinate I need? Definitely I should need x comma y. If the object moving in this direction, I definitely need y comma z, right? Because it's a plane of y and z, right? But if the object is moving in the x z plane, x comma z, right? So to describe the motion of object in any plane, it could be x y y z x z. So we definitely need two coordinates. The motion in a 2D, we call it as a motion in a 2D system, or motion in a plane, because it's a plane, right? So it's not like a linear motion. It is a motion in 2D motion, in 2D plane, like x y y z. So, what are the example that deal with this motion in a plane? So if I take the example of what I'm going to see, let's say there is a plane which is x comma y. If I threw the object in this direction, I just threw that object with the initial velocity u, but what happened after a certain time, it just follow the path of this motion. So we call it as this is the parabolic path. So when you throw an object with an angle theta to the horizontal direction, this direction we call it as a horizontal direction, and the upward direction is vertical direction. So when I threw this object in this direction, what is going on here? So I can clearly see that the object contain every point. There are two coordinates are exist, x comma y, which means when I provided to the object u initial velocity, but when I want to see here, I can see two coordinates ux and uy. Why you are writing these coordinates, sir? Because I want to describe this object in terms of velocity coordinates, not like a coordinates of x comma y. I don't need that because I'm very much interested to describe the velocity components of this object. When I want to see here, I can still have a ux and uy. What is ux and what is uy, sir? Ux and uy, they obtained from the u. We have provided to the object which is moving in xy plane with an angle theta to the horizontal direction. But here, initially it was u, but when it started moving, it's going two directions: upward direction, forward direction, horizontal direction, vertical direction. Every point of its motion, you can see it has two components. One is horizontal component, you can see that. The vertical component also there. If I see here, this is horizontal component and this is vertical component. So ux is the horizontal component. What is meaning of that? I am going to tell. Uy is the vertical component. Right. So now the question is, I am at the maximum height. Now the question is, which of these two components equal to 0? Which of these two component of velocity equal to 0 at maximum height? Which is this. So what happened here? Every point here you have two component. But when you're going from this O point to the certain B point, let us say I can say B point. At this point, which component is more? Because y component is actually initially it was more, slowly going slowly decreasing. At maximum, what happened? Vy equal to completely 0, because the object is coming like this parabolic path. Here it's what happened, it's a file, the vertical component of the object becomes 0 at this point, which is kind of okay, h, maximum height position, right? But still you have the horizontal component. Vertical component I cannot draw here, right? It's completely maximum height. So when you are in this part, here in this direction no velocity, but here I can still see that it is pulling towards, due to gravity it's coming back to the ground, right? So at the maximum height, someone asks you, it's a very important question in point of view IIT MSET, what type of this motion? This is called projectile motion. Sir, what is this term? Projectile. The spelling you can see, PR, projectile. The object which contain the two-dimensional motion is called projectile motion. The object which contain two-dimensional motion, which actually x and y two components, like a horizontal component motion, vertical component motion. And basically when object projected with an angle theta to the horizontal direction, we call such kind of object called projectile, and its motion called projectile motion. When object projected with an angle theta to the horizontal direction, such type of object we call it as a projectile, and its motion called projectile motion. So they will ask question in IIT, in a projectile motion, which component of the velocity Let me repeat. In projectile motion, which of the component of the velocity of the object becomes zero at maximum height? Is it clear? What I'm trying to ask question here, at maximum height, which means here, which of the component of the velocity of the object becomes zero at maximum height, this point? You can clearly see here, in vertical direction there is no motion, there is no, it's not going upward, right? This is the maximum height. It's not up to, when you consider this point, almost like a very small component, but along the horizontal direction still there, but at maximum height completely zero, but ux is there still as a u. They're going to ask you, at maximum height, the velocity of the object completely is equal to the to its horizontal motion. Why? Because u becomes ux and uy. But when uy is equal to at maximum height, definitely ux is equal to u, right? Is it clear? One of the component becomes zero means what? The initial velocity equal to whatever the final velocity. Or sometimes if people write u is equal to v, that is equal to u. Doesn't matter. So depend upon the problem, we have to deal it. Okay. Then after maximum height, again what happened? Vertical component. Vertical component gradually what happened? Tell me. It's increasing. Then again, when it reaches to the ground, both velocity zero. That's not a question they're going to ask. But here another question they're going to ask: which of the component of object is constant throughout its motion of the object? Which of the component of velocity of the object is constant throughout the projectile motion, like parabolic path? It's very important, Nana. Ux is equal to u. It is always. This does not change. Only which component is changing? Y is changing. When it's going upward direction, Y is decreasing. When it's going downward direction, Y is increasing. That's it. But horizontal component, no one is changing. It's just same. Okay? No, it's just still there. This is horizontal basically. It's not changing anywhere. Even starting to ending, always constant. Okay, Pranav? Is it clear? Are you there? Pranav,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
uh, did you understand concept? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you clear this one, I'm going to explain something else. I'm going to clear this. Is it okay? The two things you have to remember from this discussion: which of the component of velocity of a projectile is constant velocity, horizontal component of ux? Which of the component of projectile motion, which of the component of velocity of a projectile is equal to zero at maximum height? Vertical component of velocity. Those 2 points are very important to remember. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. Let me check actually whether I made it some slides or based on this. Yeah, I think no, this is okay. Uh, I think I can discuss this. Yeah, projectile motion. Now we understand. Like I just right. Now we understand what is the plane motion in a plane. Definitely, it should be plane. Okay. I'll get back again projectile motion. Maybe I can discuss vectors later. I think it's better I can go for later. Let me complete projectile motion here. Right.
Yes, sir.
You can clearly see here what is what I was trying to explain before. Okay. And this is a very important concept to understand.
Yes, sir.
You can see this is the parabolic path, and this is the theta which they projected, initial velocity v, and every point, at this point again it divided into two component. It resolve into two component. We have to say resolve into two component. V0, sometime they write V0y, V0x. But when you
Yes,
going,
sir.
so initially it is VO, V0x, V0y. V0x, we call it as a x component, Vx. V0y is the Vy component. Okay.
Vy component. Yes, sir.
Yes, this is the maximum height. And now we need to understand here, we need to get a derivations for two things. Uh, what is the maximum height equation for a projectile motion? Normally we already know that u square by 2g, right? This is for what? Vertical motion, right?
Yes, sir.
So we have already obtained this maximum height equation u square by 2g. This is for vertical motion. But projectile motion, you have a theta values. So definitely it changes. But how do we get this actually? How do we get it? And how do you prove that this is a parabola? The two tasks are there in front of us. How do you prove projectile motion is a parabola? That's the one question. And how do we get the maximum height equation? This, and range is what? The displacement, right? What is the range of definition? Everybody knows, I think, right? What is the range? Maximum minus minimum. The,
Minimum.
the, the distance between the final point to the initial point, which is actually displacement. In this case, displacement, maximum displacement is equal to range. So initially the object was here, the finally object reaches here. The displacement from initial to final point is called range. So we need to get this equation derivation. How do we got this? How do we get these equations are important too. And how do we prove that parabola? The path of the projectile motion is parabola. So for this, I'm going to again take the empty slide because it's already there. I cannot. I will do clear it.
Yes, sir.
Go back to the slide, which is the empty slide. Oh, it's not going back. It's going front. So let me check it. Right. So we need to prove that the path of the projectile motion is parabola. How do we prove it is a big task now? So I would draw first. I would draw this very clearly. Uh, but it's not so. I mean, I just want to make it parabola path, and this is my maximum edge, and from this is O. Let us say this is B. I would say this is actually my range, and this I can write HM, maximum height at this point. Initially, the object is projected like this with an angle theta to the horizontal direction.
Yes, sir.
So now we're trying to resolve this component into two directions. Oh, this is not so good. No, I would go for blue. Yes, I'm trying to resolve these two component. Initially, it was U. This is UX, UY. So now, how do we get UX component? UX is what actually? UX is how do we get UX in terms of theta? You guys know that perpendicular Pythagoras theorem, right? I mean, do you guys know that Pythagoras theorem?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Uh, so now it's like a triangle. What I'm trying to say here is like a, you should write it like this. So the object is projecting like this. This is your horizontal direction. Okay. So this is theta. I should make it, 0 here. So this is horizontal velocity. Okay. And the vertical velocity is, I can write it uy this, because actually I'm just taking the vertical y direction. Okay. From this, I have to write sine theta. What is the sine theta from this? Anybody knows? What is the sine theta cos theta definition? Sine theta, you should remember that this is a, I'm going to explain later trigonometry. Opposite theta, theta opposite, what is the opposite side to the hypotenuse? This is called hypotenuse. Opposite side, adjacent side. Remember these guys. Whichever side is opposite to theta, we call it as a opposite side. Whichever like side is close to theta, we call it adjacent side. This you know that hypotenuse, right? Is it
Yes,
clear?
sir. Yes, sir.
So this is h hypotenuse, this is opposite side, and this is the adjacent side. Now the sine theta is equal to opposite side by hypotenuse. Okay, now tell me the cost. So from this diagram, what should I write? What is my opposite side here? Ux, right?
Yes, sir.
Sine theta is equal to u uy, right? Uy by h. What is my h is here? Tell me. We take actually h is u, because initial velocity we take hypotenuse here. So this is our hypotenuse, right? Initial
Yes,
velocity
sir.
u. So uy is equal to what? Uy is equal to u sine theta. So now we got it as a uy is equal to u sine theta. Ux is what from this? How do we get cos theta? Tell me. Cos theta is equal to cos theta definition, adjacent side by hypotenuse. Adjacent side by, so ux by u only. We take a u only. Okay. So ux is how
Yes,
much
sir.
now? U cos theta. So now these are my initial coordinates of the projectile. Initial, I am talking about only this path initially. When I gave the u, immediately resolve into two components. So these are my ux, uy, and what are these actually? These are the initial coordinates of my project. I am assuming these two are the initial points, but final point I want to describe at maximum height. So let me check first. I want to calculate the, I want to calculate the from here. Uh, uh, okay. From here, my target is to prove the path of the projectile is parabola. For that, I have to uh, horizontal. So I want to write the equation for displacement along the x direction. So I am here, displacement. So the two things you have to remember, guys. I want to find displacement x direction, x, y direction, this. So the object is going in two direction, right? One is x direction, the other one is y direction. So x
Y
direction,
direction.
horizontal distance we calling, y direction vertical distance. So the when the object is moving from initial point to the upward, or I mean when it's moving from here to here means it's going upward and also forward direction, which means
Yes, sir.
it is moving in both direction. Like x, it has a, I'm assuming here x direction distance is x, the distance which covered in y direction is y. So along x direction I'm assuming x, along y direction I'm assuming distance is y. So how, first thing I want to calculate distance along the x direction. How do I get distance along the x direction? I want to calculate it. Distance equal to velocity into time, right? What is the distance? What is the, sorry, distance equal to velocity into time. Is it clear? So you, Pranav, you know that velocity is equal to distance by time, right?
Yes, sir.
So when I want to write equation for distance, here I'm saying x direction. So x by t. So if I want to write equation for x, velocity into time. What is the velocity along x direction? Tell me. What is the velocity component in x direction? So you should take only that velocity. Don't take
Okay,
y.
sir.
So u cos theta into time t. I'm saying, I'm just writing as a t. Okay. So what is this? Tell me here. I'm writing equation for the distance which object travel in x direction. X is equal to velocity into t. Okay. From this, what I can write, x is equal to t is equal to x by u cos theta. Can I write like this?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear?
Yes,
So
sir.
see, the you should think about, you should ask your brain, oh, so parabolic path, I have to prove it. What you need, I have to calculate distance traveled by object in both direction. What is the distance traveled in x direction? What is the distance traveled by object in y direction? The distance traveled by the object in x direction we are assuming as a x. The distance traveled by the object in y direction we are assuming as a y. So now I got it actually x direction, but from that I calculated time. So moving it, this is the first step. Step one we completed. Step two, I'm going for the distance traveled by object along y direction. Okay. So that I am saying I am using the second equation of motion. S is equal to ut plus S is equal to ut plus of at square. This is a distance equation. But I am considering vertical direction. I am going upward direction, right? So here S is equal to y. I am saying that. I am assuming A is equal to minus G, right? We are going upward. Is it clear?
Okay, sir.
So when you are going vertical direction upward, remember that I am assuming that is the distance is y, and A should be acceleration due to gravity becomes negative G, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
y is equal to ut minus of gt square. But this is uy. Remember that. What is u here? Uy, velocity along vertical component along y direction. So you remember that also. U is equal to uy is equal to u sine theta, right? Because vertical
Yes.
component is how much? U sine theta. So
Yes, sir.
now, I have to write it. I have to show that parabola. How can I prove it that? I'm erasing the right side once because I don't need that anymore. If you understand this concept, 1 mark compulsory in IIT and set also. Because but IP level 4 marks, intermediate question, direct question, this is for 4 marks. I mean, I'm just completing like 8th, 9th, 10th inter. I mean, it may help you for you. Don't take like, oh, this is so tough. Don't think about it. just to understand concept of two-dimensional motion. So now you have to substitute here t as a this one. What is t? What is uy? You have to substitute here. So y is equal to, what is uy? Tell me. What is uy? Uy is what? Uy is a uy. How much is there? U sin theta, right?
Yes, sir.
Uy is u
U
sin
sin theta.
theta. T is what? T. This you should write down this t into x by u cos theta minus of g. T is how much again? You have to write down as x by u cos theta whole square. Almost reached. We reached the parabola equation. Here u gets cancelled, right? Sin theta by cos theta. What are you gonna get? Tan theta, guys. Sin by always opposite side by adjacent side. So when you divide sin theta by cos theta, what are you gonna get? Hypotenuse will cancel. So opposite side by adjacent side. Definitely this is tan theta. Slope. Actually, we use this for slope, calculating slope. Into x minus of g x square by, I can u square cos square theta. So after this step, we are done almost. So what I'm writing here is ax minus bx square. This, see here, I got it. What I got it? Ax minus bx square. Sir, how do you get it? This one, sir. This is actually represent parabolic path. This is the equation. If you do the, I think mathematics, you have a graphs. I think maybe I don't know whether you have done in 9th class. I think you must have done. Y is equal to ax minus bx square represent parabolic path. Parabolic path. But how do we got it? So this is very simple. I am assuming that A is what? A is equal to tan theta. I'm writing tan theta as A. A is equal to tan theta. Here everything all constant. These are all constants. I'm saying that as a B. B is equal to G by 2 u square cos square theta. These are the constants. So we prove that the path of the projectile motion is parabola. Okay. So how do we prove?
Yes,
We
sir.
just calculated the distance along x direction. From that we got t. Then we also calculated the distance along y direction. For that s is equal to y, a is equal to minus g, u is equal to uy. We just substituted in this equation. Finally we got it. That's very simple. The 4 marks question, intermediate level also. Very important question too. Can I erase it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So here the next task is how do we get maximum height equation, which is u square sine square theta by 2g. How do we get this is the challenging. And the range equation 2 u square sine 2 theta by g. These two are the important equation for competitive exams. How do we get this? We cannot by heart, right? We need to understand how we got it. Okay. So how do you prove it? Anybody? Can you suggest me? Which equation we have used to get the maximum height in vertical motion? Which equation? V square minus u square equal to 2gs, right? At the maximum height, final velocity becomes 0. So we got it that one. Here t we don't need. We don't have in the equation t, right? So we have to go for only forcibly equation, third equation. To prove this u square sin square theta by 2g, we don't have time. We don't need actually. So that actually, as how do we prove that v square minus u square is equal to 2gs? We have to 2as I can say. Use this equation to get this one. So let me clear it this again moving into the. So again, I don't want to draw too much exactly, but I just want to tell that this is maximum height. We are going to get it. Here initial ux, uy, we already know that u cos theta and u sin theta. But final velocity, when I want to calculate maximum height, I want to write Vx. Vx is equal to again same as I mentioned, horizontal component does not change. Vx or ux same. Vy, Vy equal to 0, right?
Yes, sir.
So Vy equal to 0. Vx, y we are putting same, this and this same because horizontal component does not change. It's remain constant, same, always same. Vertical component initially u cos theta, u sin theta, but at maximum it is going to be 0. Why it's going to be 0? It doesn't go behind this point, right? Right? So it
Yes, sir.
doesn't go up. So final velocity of equal to 0. So when I use the v square minus u square is equal to 2as, here what is v? Final velocity. Okay.
Yes,
Final, what is this? U. Initial velocity is there. So I can keep this is equal to 0. Initial velocity, which direction? Tell me. Vertical direction I have to take.
vertical.
When I,
Yes, sir.
when I want to talk about the maximum height, we are going upward direction, right? Right. Maximum height is vertical direction, right? Not horizontal. Is it? Yes.
Yes, sir.
So what is the vertical component? U sine theta, which is actually
Yes, sir.
initial component of that vertical component. So when I do square, what happens? U square sine square theta. No, no, it doesn't. 2. A become what? Minus G, right?
Yes, sir.
Vertical upward direction. Minus
Yes, sir.
G. S means H we are putting. Capital H. So both side minus will cancel, right?
Yes, sir.
This minus cancel with this. What is H value? Tell me here. H is equal to U square sine square theta by 2G. This is the maximum height equation. Okay? U square sine square theta by 2G. Did you remember now how we got it?
Yes, sir.
So now how maximum height? Sorry, range.
Yes, sir.
Range is indicated by capital R. So range, when I talk about range, this is my range, right?
Yes, sir.
Horizontal component. So horizontal distance. So R is equal to horizontal distance into horizontal, range equal to horizontal velocity. What is the horizontal velocity here? Ux, very good. Ux into time. Time we need to write it. So what is Ux? U cos theta. What is T? Time of
Yes, sir.
here you need to take time of ascent or time of no, yeah, total time, right? You have to consider from A to B. 2u sin theta, 2u sin theta by g. This I did not tell you, but we did without sin theta. Time of flight equal to u by g plus u by g. 2u by g. So in this case only you are getting 2u sin theta by g. So I have to write, why I am writing t completely, because from here to here t, from here to here t. So time of ascent plus time of descent. So 2u sin theta by g. Here u into u how much? U square, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
2 sin theta cos theta. There is a formula in trigonometry, you're going to learn it later, but I'm writing here directly u square sine 2 theta by g. This is range equation. You should remember this equation at least. So here 2 sine theta cos theta formula is what? Directly sine 2 theta. So we write it, this value directly becomes sine 2 theta. Okay. So you're gonna learn this trigonometry, I think next year, 10th class. But I'm definitely teach you trigonometry 1 or 2 classes to become expert. Very easy. Okay. I think did you copy all these two things, two formulas? H is equal to u square sine. Remember, keep it in the brain. You don't need to write it. I mean, if you have to keep in the brain, that's enough. So u square sine square theta by 2g and u square sine 2 theta by g range. I mean, if you remember how we got this equation, never forget. You don't forget anywhere. So you should remember, oh,
Yes,
we
sir.
got it. The way we did, you have to remember. So u square sine square theta by 2g. Time is over. So I think we'll, continue class after.
Yes, sir.
You can reconnect it. We'll do basic stuff, then we stop it today.
Okay, sir.